Give them a shot to do what?
That's why I told him I'd never do that again for less than $20. On this episode, we are going to do the NHL and NBA Finals predictions because the Stanley Cup is set. Rematch from last year between the Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers. And then the Indiana Pacers, and shocked the world, taking out the New York Knicks. Took them out so bad that they fired their coach, which is insane. And we'll talk about that a little bit. Against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Hopefully it won't be such a big slobber knocker, but either way, we're going to get a franchise that has never won an NBA title before, which is cool. So hooray for small market teams. And of course, we'll go over the rest of the good, bad, and fugly this past week in sports, especially Bert, that pink stuff. Is it possible that the pink stuff that Stephon Diggs had on the boat, is it possible it was for a gender reveal party? We'll find out next. Sports. I messed up. I hit the button too early. I was going to click it after we said it, and I messed it up. I'm sorry.
I'm shook about how you left it. I didn't even think about gender reveal. Now
listen, we can't just assume bad things are happening on a boat full of half-naked people. I mean, when you're supposed to be at OTAs, like, we can't just immediately jump to drugs. Like, it could have been a gender reveal. I mean, there was a lot of revealing of genders on that boat. If you watch some of them videos,
there was.
Yeah, I could tell a lot of those people were women.
Good for him. Great for Stephon Diggs.
Hey,
wishing him the best.
Hey, yeah, you probably should be in OTAs with your brand new team, but he was smacking Cardi B's ass, and I ain't gonna be mad at that. I will never, ever down on it. Black on back. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Hopefully this year the Sixers are one of 5 teams that are getting throwback uniforms, and I'm telling you right now, Daryl Morey, you fat walrus, it better be the Iverson black jerseys, or we will riot. I'm sick of this. Nah, Bert, show him what you're wearing. Show him that hat. What is that hat? He's been wearing that. That's the same. Boom. Come on now. You didn't see the Yankee last week. You missed it last week when he if Diddy's on that boat, bad things are happening. Hey, listen, who's to say that bad things weren't happening on the boat? I mean, we don't know. The only good thing that come out of it was that Cardi B looks healthy and happy. Hey, shout out to Cardi B. I can't.
And they're having fun. You know?
Yeah.
Wish I was on a boat.
I wish I was on a boat too. I had to look up. I didn't have to look up, but I had to double check to make sure pink cocaine wasn't actually cocaine, because I feel like he had it pretty plainly. It was some sort of substance, and I feel like if it was something really serious, not to say that pink cocaine isn't illegal, but it's not cocaine. It's like a ketamine Molly mix, which again I'm sure NFL doesn't like. But I'm shocked at how quiet the NFL has been, because he obviously had something in his hand that was not, it wasn't fun dip.
Man, I mean, yeah, right. It's obviously something. I'm still amazed that in today's age, when everybody has a camera and they're taking video, that you're not, I mean, obviously if it is drugs, trying to hide it a little bit better, or telling everybody like, hey, if you want to come out on this boat again, behave.
No phones.
Yeah.
Everybody knows when you do illegal stuff, you're supposed to like not have phones and don't do it in front of a bunch of people. And he felt confident enough. He had to have known people were filming, but in all the videos I've seen of him, he acted like the cameras weren't even there. I was shocked. I was like, yo, Cardi B's about to get herself in trouble. She also today got her and Offset from the Migos, her son's hair braided exactly like Stephon Diggs. And I'm not going to read the response Offset said, because I'm pretty sure it was going to be in part of a police investigation down the line, but he was not happy, as I probably wouldn't be either. Like, Stephon Diggs and Cardi B's thing seems to be more of a tryst than a relationship, just two people, grown adults having fun. But you start braiding your hair for a guy that you've just partied with all weekend, your son with another person who's also famous. Probably not the smartest decision if you're, and especially of a guy of Offset's ilk who is not for the games. He's not here to play games. He's not a fake gangster. He is indeed a real gangster. So before we get started, please like, subscribe, give us a like. I don't care if you watch, just, hit like, share it, drop a comment. I don't care. At Stuff About Sports on Instagram, at Give Us a Shot Network, www.giveusashot.network. Bert, this past week, the good, the bad, the fugly. Give me your good.
Gladly. This past weekend, a 17-year-old junior in high school from Thomasville, Georgia, by the name of Mason Howell, qualified for the U.S. Open coming up. Yeah. It's incredible. He shot under 18. He shot 18 under par to qualify for the event. Didn't bogey once all day. Did it in front of amateur PGA players and punched his ticket to Pennsylvania to play with the top in the sport in the U.S. Open. I read that article and immediately just thought to myself, A, how exciting for him and nerve-wracking to do this, but B, what a future he has in the sport if he sticks with it, and just what is going to be not only a memorable and unreal weekend for him, but something that he can just learn from and soak up. And I don't think anybody's expecting him to do serious damage in the tournament, but I mean, if he does, what a great story and an opportunity for him to make some serious coin from it too.
So my good is the Indiana Pacers, specifically Tyrese Halliburton. The season they've had, and we'll get to them more in depth here in a few minutes, but I couldn't really pick anybody else. The Thunder have been favored all season as title favorites. So them making it to the NBA Finals is not a shock. The shock of the Pacers defeating, all these teams to get to the finals after their star player was voted most overrated. He didn't win Eastern Conference MVP, which I think is fine. Pascal Siakam averaged like 24 points. Maybe it should have been Halliburton, but it's not like Siakam stole it from him. Like he contributed a great deal. Ghost to Dre says, I'm tired of SGA. Dude can't stay on his feet. Yeah, he has a little, like a more athletic Luka Doncic, James Harden type game. He definitely looks for foul calls, but I'm not gonna fault him for that, because that's the game we play today in the NBA. Like, maneuvering your body, searching for foul calls, like that's how the game is played these days. So I'm not gonna be mad at him. But either way, the good is really Tyrese Halliburton, even without winning the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Him making it to the NBA Finals after just the type of season he had is actually pretty amazing. Joining us, I don't know if he was ready, but he's not ready. I'm gonna hide him again. I hid myself. I'm gonna hide him.
We're good now.
Oh, we're good now. There we go. Pan that camera down. I need to know what number is on that Mavs jersey. You better not be wearing a throwback Luka Doncic jersey.
I am. I've worn the jersey on the show before.
I know. The throwback Luka Doncic. Get it signed. The rare 1 year the Deacon. That's right. The Deacon. Dwayne Marcus. You damn right. Bert, what's your bad?
My bad. Detroit Lions center Frank Ragnow had to call it an early retirement, and he was such a huge part of their offensive line, and they were hoping to certainly build momentum after two what I would call semi-successful seasons, right? One of which getting to an NFC title game last year, a little bit of an earlier exit than they wanted overall, but for him to be such a large piece in that O-line, and now due to ongoing health issues, and look, we're big fans of, hey, listen, when you have to call it quits, do it for the betterment of your health and your family. But now the Lions are facing a serious gap at that position going into the season. And I'm not sure this is something they knew about, could have been like potentially during the draft, but now they're left scrambling to see who can fill that void and then hopefully continue to compete. And I think they will overall, but I mean, certainly just sad to see when someone has an earlier than normal retirement.
Yeah, the fact that he did this so, like, just the timing of it didn't sound right.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's just why it wasn't like you woke up. Listen, I don't know how many concussions he's had. Maybe he did just wake up today and just decide, fuck it.
Could
I don't
be.
know. Like we see it all the time. Like these guys just make these decisions. Ragnow has some weird throat thing. Oh, buddy, I don't know. I mean, listen, it's 2025 and it's Pride Month. I'm not going to make any type of allegations or insinuations. I don't know what he's doing down there in Detroit. It's free world, man. So it is odd. It is odd that he decided to do this, but obviously the Lions are cool with it. Like they got guys coming up the pike, so they're going to figure it out. And I mean, they have no choice now, right? Draft's over. I mean, they're probably
they just got to scramble, hope someone fills in fine, and if not, I mean, I don't know.
There's always the buyout market. There's always people getting cut after training camp, so maybe they'll fill it. Dwayne Marcus, do you have a good and a bad for this week in sports?
I have a good. I don't have a bad. My good is the Magic jerseys that were just announced today. I think they're really cool. I saw the one jersey is like a callback to the warm-up jackets that they had back when Shaq and Penny Hardaway was on the team. And listen, I think we've talked about this on the show before, like not to like sound old like you guys or whatever, but jerseys are like important. They're really, really important. And the last couple years, we've seen like some jersey rollouts from the NBA, whether it's city edition jerseys or whatever, and they've really, really sucked. And I'm just glad that we've got jerseys out here that actually look cool and look like they're worth spending money on. And plus they're Nike jerseys. So that lets me know that like the rest of the jerseys that are coming out in this batch are probably going to be just as good, because I'm sick of not seeing good basketball jerseys worn out there. So they're my good. I didn't have it bad though.
That's cool. The only thing that's throwing me off about the Magic jerseys, and I'm sure I didn't really deep dive into it, is the font of the Magic. I didn't like the way the font. It's the one, and they're not bad. It's just it's something that it's the one thing my eyes keep averting to. Like I wish the font was that's the one thing that's keeping them from being perfect. But I do like them going back to their roots, the throwbacks. A lot of these teams feel like they have to rebrand or they have to change, and they go away from something that's pretty much perfect, right? The Jacksonville Jaguars are about to do it. They got their throwbacks, and then they realized, oh wait, these shit, the leaping Jaguar, like the numbers, like now they can only wear them 4 times this season, and I think they said in 2 or 3 years they're able to rebrand again. They're gonna probably go back to those throwbacks full time, maybe with an updated Jaguar, but that set is probably going to be their full time set. And the Magic seem to be going through it. The one thing I do appreciate about the Magic, Bert, we talked about uniforms, how picky I am. I'm a traditionalist. I'm old school. I like a white home jersey, the colored away jersey, and an alternate of whatever your secondary color is. And that's what the Magic did. They have a nice, cool, and not only do they have a cool alternate, the alternate isn't just an inverted color scheme. It actually means something. Yeah. Like it's a throwback to the, that's cool to me. I know some teams can't help but just to invert colors or use that third color that's rarely used. I get it. The Utah Jazz kind of just did that, bringing back the purple. I wish they would have made it more like, the early 2000s Jazz jerseys, but it's still early. But I like clean, like the Knicks. I'm not a fan of like teams having 4 or 5 different jerseys. I'm just not a fan of all that. Like I think every team should only be allowed to have 4. I think you should get your whites, your blue or your coloreds, and then your alternate with your secondary color. And then, that's weird. That's weird how I said that. The coloreds. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, as soon as
let's roll with it. Jersey talk. Let's go.
Yeah. Sorry. No, that's crazy. The African American jersey. I mean Jesus. The
as a color yourself, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, I know. My bad, man. I'm tripping. The damn, what's the right word? The solid color jersey. And
why don't you call them home and away?
Yeah, but I need people to understand that the whites with your team name. Damn, I just did it again. The whites,
the white jersey.
Oh God, did you see? Anyway,
white jersey,
the home and away jerseys are the home and away jerseys are the white
insane.
jerseys. The color jerseys are the way with the city name on it, and then you have your third color. Which is usually your secondary color. And then I think you should get those 3 and then a throwback. That way you can rotate throwbacks every year. 4 jerseys, that's all you need. I'm tired of seeing 13. I get people, it's a money grab, but I'm tired of seeing 17 jersey combinations on these teams. It's sickening. It's disgusting. So I'm not a fan of it. I don't really have a bad. There's no, I mean, with the lack of sports, the only bad I really have is continuing off of the NFL with the flag football. Like, they don't seem to be budging on this. Like, NFL players, like, they're going to take all the flag football player stuff. Like, it doesn't seem like they're going to let these flag football players get a fair shake. Mina Kimes said something very interesting, that for the Pro Bowl, they should do the flag football U.S. team versus the NFL flag football team, and the winner of that, of the Pro Bowl, gets to represent the U.S. in the Olympics. And I said, that's pretty dope. I like that. It gives them a fair shot. And because, like, listen, I give the flag football players a real chance. The field's smaller. It's a different game. Like, if you watch the pro football flag game, it's not the greatest. Like that, it's hard to switch that mode to get into flag football mode versus it's just different, right? Like, it's just a different type of game. So the fact that the NFL doesn't seem to be budging, and instead doubling down on the fact that they're going to send their stars to the Olympics seems it's pretty bad to me.
I mean, they're looking to capitalize monetarily too, right? I mean, they need to get more of their players merchandise out there. We talked about this last week. It sucks, and hopefully, who knows what happens down the line. But you're right, they're not. They're going full steam ahead.
Fugly, Bert.
Oh, look no further than the Yankees pitching. My God. Like, and if I didn't have to witness Saturday's atrocity of absolutely getting bent over by the Dodgers was already a painful weekend, and knowing that it was going to be nonstop talking about a World Series matchup, but to not only get smacked around that badly, but to watch basically us go through 8 mediocre pitchers who could barely even get out of one inning was just sad to see. And then, huge exclamation point on the fact that Monday we lost our closer and Luke Weaver for up to 6 weeks with a hamstring injury. He was just placed on the IL today. So, it's one of those things that we've talked about. There has been chatter, especially since Garrett Cole going down too, of, are guys going to step up and be able to fill that spot? And some of them have, or are we going to have to make some serious moves to bring someone in by trade deadline? And I think that's going to have to be the case going forward. Otherwise, I mean, look, we can compete all we want in the AL, but when it matters the most in October, we can get to the show, but I mean, I don't want another repeat of last year. So I think that's honestly if we're looking at any missing pieces, and especially as we enter kind of towards the mid-range of the MLB season, we're going to really evaluate. And I think we have deep bats. I think we've got great defense, but pitching is something that we have always seemed to be lacking over the past couple of years. And that's honestly what has lost us World Series games before too. So something has to change.
I did have a real bad. I don't know why I skipped over this, but I did want to touch on the Stephon Diggs boat. Like, it's a bad look for him. I know we were joking about it, Bert, me and you in the open. You have a new team and you are a vet now. And not only are you a vet, you are now crossing over from game-changing vet to help a team win to we're looking at you to help these younger guys. When you're on a new team and you're skipping OTAs to party on a boat, and I don't care who you're partying with, and that doesn't mean I'm happy for you. It's Cardi B. You get to smack her ass on a boat. That's great. Good for you. But when you make decisions like that, you have to understand that criticism of, if I'm the Patriots, I'm looking at it like, wow, football isn't no longer important to you. And the NFL isn't something you can half-ass, right? Like, you're either in it or you're not. And again, hey, partied with Cardi B. Happy for you. But also, you kind of, now he's at OTAs now and he missed a couple days. Is it a big deal in the grand scheme? Not really. But if you're Stephon Diggs and you tore your ACL and you already have people basically calling you washed, the look isn't to go party on a boat with pink substances. With me and Bert are calling a gender reveal party. We're not going to put drugs on Stephon Diggs. We're just going to say it was a girl. And listen, will the Patriots be okay? Do the Patriots care? I mean, Vrabel had to say something. It's probably not a good look that your new head coach of a new franchise that is trying to resurrect itself has to make comments about, hey, why is your lead receiver on a boat partying instead of being here at OTAs? It's just a bad look. So I don't know if Dwayne Marcus, you have anything on Stephon Diggs?
No, he's just an idiot.
Yeah.
So,
the fugly of all fugly, New York Knicks. What are you doing?
look at that.
What are you doing, New York Knicks? This is the problem. When you play the result and you forget about the process, right? You get glossy eyes, you see the prize, your eyes get big, and you're attracted to the shiny things, and you forget what it took for you to get there. I'm a Bills fan. Trust me. I've dealt with that. I have Josh Allen and nothing else matters, but then I forget about the 17-year drought sometimes. And no, it doesn't mean I want to go back to the 17-year drought, but I'm here now. You were in the Eastern Conference Finals, and he's only been there for 5 years. It takes 3 years just to rebuild a franchise. Like, this is the opposite of Dan Campbell, Bert. Remember we talked about the Detroit Lions when they hired Dan Campbell. You got to give this guy 3 years because he needs a year to get rid of the trash. Then he needs a year to bring in his own guys, and then he needs another year to assess. Then let's see what the results are like. And look at them. They're going to be Super Bowl contenders as long as him and Jared Goff are there, and as long as the GM continues to make smart draft choices and smart free agent choices, which they seem to continue to do. And but the Knicks, you have this guy, and I don't want to hear about he coaches his players too hard. He only goes 7 deep on the bench, and he does this, and he runs his guys. They play a lot of minutes. Well, hey, guess what? Guess what the coach you had before was doing? He was doing all that, the opposite of all that. And you didn't even sniff the Eastern Conference Finals. It's been 30 years. So sometimes you just need to be coached hard. And I'm not trying to make this like a Gen Z thing or a young generation thing, but like these players are softer now. What do you mean he coaches you too hard? Like think about all of our great dynasties in time, not just recently. Think about the Chiefs right now. Think about the Lakers with Phil Jackson. Think about the Patriots with Bill Belichick. What are all those guys have in common? They are no bullshit, hard coached franchises because that's what it takes to win. And if you're going to get rid of a guy 1 year, he deserved at least one more year. I mean, Jesus, like it's like if you really feel that bad, and to me, it's 100% of Jalen Brunson went to Leon Rose and said, "Hey, I can't do another year of this guy. Like we just got to get healthier. We need another piece, whatever. But you start letting the inmates run the asylum, man, it's going to be a bad thing." Unless they get Mike Malone, the Knicks are playing with fire. Like they're playing a dangerous game, getting rid of one of the better coaches in the NBA because he quote unquote coached them too hard. You got news reports that the team was unhappy with Karl Anthony Towns. No shocker there. Like because it's exactly what Jimmy Butler was trying to tell the Minnesota Timberwolves. They shipped Jimmy Butler out and they realized, oh wait, Jimmy Butler made us better because you know what Jimmy Butler does? He coaches hard. He's a on the court coach. He holds his players accountable and he demands excellence. And Karl Anthony Towns, he is who he is. You watch the same Twitter clips that I do, the same compilations I do of some of his other behavior. Happy June to him, I guess. And it's you put the players first and realize that it's not just talent that wins in the NBA. It's not enough to just be a good basketball player. You have to have a good coach and you have to have these players that are willing to be coached. And it seems like the Knicks are not prepared for all that. So I don't know, Dwayne Marcus, you have anything on Thibodeau?
Yeah, that was also my fugly. I mean, we're talking about a guy who, since he's been in New York, they've won 226 games, lost 174. They've got 47 playoff wins. 42 of them have come the last 3 seasons. They have more playoff wins the last 3 seasons than they have in the last, I don't know how many years combined, right? So if you have to take a look at that as well. Like you mentioned, this is their first Eastern Conference Finals in 25 years. You don't just take that guy and just toss him to the wayside just because you didn't get the expected result. And look, I get it, right? No one expected the Pacers to be in this position, right? No one expected the Pacers to, not just make the conference finals, but obviously have a chance against the Knicks, especially considering the Knicks were able to send the Celtics home early. But I mean, you also have to think about it too. Like this is also a Knicks team that under Tom Thibodeau has finished top 5 in the East for the last of the 5 years he's been there. Last time the Knicks finished top 4, top 5 in the East, at least 4 or 5 years. You have to go back to 1991 to 97. They did 6 straight seasons. So for all intents and purposes, Tom Thibodeau provided arguably the most successful 5-year stretch in Knicks franchise history, this side of Patrick Ewing. And the thanks he got was, a kick of the bucket as soon as this conference finals was over. And to me, it makes me think that no matter what happened this season, Tom Thibodeau would not have been the head coach of the New York Knicks. The only way that Tom Thibodeau would have been the head coach of the New York Knicks next season would have been if the Knicks won the championship. That's what this firing tells me, is that they had already made up their mind a while ago. I don't know when a while is, but a while ago, that they were going to send him on his way into the unemployment line. And to Germ's point, like, maybe the best option is Mike Malone. And no disrespect to Mike Malone, I don't know necessarily if Mike Malone is able to coach this team and get as much out of them as Tom Thibodeau was able to do, because I remember Mike Malone was just in Denver coaching the best player in the world, and, you know, a guy in Jamal Murray who played, who, you know, before he forgot how to play basketball. Like, this Knicks team is not nearly as what's the word? It's not nearly as like a well-oiled machine as I think a lot of people might think. I think you have to look at the fact that Cat did have one of the best seasons, if not the best season of his career this season, right? The biggest issue with this Knicks team was that Mikal Bridges was not nearly worth what you traded him for. And maybe that's why they felt like Tom Thibodeau had to go, because they would rather bring in another coach and hope that Mikal Bridges can be better under a new coach than Mikal Bridges fail again under Tom Thibodeau. And then management have to look themselves in the face and say, oh, maybe we should not have traded all those first round picks for Mikal Bridges. So I agree with you. I mean, to fire a guy who, like I said, gave you probably, you know, one of the greatest 5-year stretches in your franchise history, all because you got bounced in the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, dude, you're one of the last 4 teams playing basketball at this point in the season. You have to take this season as a win and regroup and come back next year and figure it out. I don't think Mike Malone is the guy that's going to come back and get them, because the only place to go from here would be the finals next season. That's the only way that this firing would be justified, and they're not going to the finals next season.
Listen, you see the hat I'm wearing. I gave you the smart, unbiased analysis, but now it's time for the Sixers fan Germ to talk. You Knicks stay losing. You weren't shit before Tibbs. You ain't going to be shit after Tibbs. What's up? Like, what are y'all doing? You got Timothy Chalamet. What are you going to have Timothy Chalamet coach the team and Kylie Jenner or whatever Jenner he's dating? Jalen Brunson being your best player? You'll never sniff the finals. You got the undersized guard who can't play defense. Great. Good for you. That's what you're building this castle on. And possibly the softest big man of all time in that city. So good luck. I can't wait for you guys to drop the announcement that you're hiring Fred Hoiberg or some shit, because that's the type of move. You won't do the smart thing and get New York native Mike Malone. You'll go out there and get, you know, Fred Hoiberg or some bum from some team, the Utah Jazz assistant coach, whoever that is. I'm sure that'll be the move there. So, you know.
Oh, damn it. I did have a bad this week. Thank you for talking about the Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
Austin Ainge getting hired is my bad for this week. Look, no disrespect to Austin Ainge. I'm sure he's a wonderful, upstanding member of society who did great in the 14 years of experience that his daddy Danny gave him in Boston. But I'm actually glad I'm here, because I was on this show after the draft and I had to listen to good old Jamal Marquavius Edwards read me the riot act because Bronny James is an NBA basketball player. And this same cloth of people that you love to be proud to be cut from are silent and haven't said a word about the fact that Austin Ainge got a job from his daddy to be in Utah. Like, I don't understand. I would like for you to explain to me how that's any different than what LeBron did for Bronny.
Danny Ainge is not the LeBron James of whatever Danny Ainge is. Period. Point blank. Period. Nobody. We didn't follow Austin Ainge or whatever. This sounds like a wrestler name, Austin Ainge.
Doesn't he have like 12 years experience as an assistant GM?
Just 14 years
he does.
In Boston, that his daddy gave him.
Right,
but it's still experience.
That his daddy gave him.
I mean, Bill Belichick hired his sons too. Are we going to talk about them not being qualified as well?
I don't think no. My qualified or not, I don't care about qualifications. I think he'll do a good job because he's come from the loins of Danny Ainge, and Danny Ainge is good at his job. I just thought that we were all on the same page that nepotism was bad for sports, but then this happened and no one said anything. That's more so where I'm coming from at it. I just don't like the way that this isn't being, and I get it, Germ, like Danny Ainge isn't LeBron James of whatever it is that he does. Right. I got it. But that wasn't the reason why a lot of people were upset that Bronny James was.
But I don't think,
a lot of people were upset because it was nepotism.
I can't speak for what a lot of people are. I'll tell you, because I remember the show you're talking about. What I'm saying is, and maybe, you know, because we were debating it, it got lost. I don't have an issue with nepotism per se, because it does happen in all avenues. Like, we all would help our kids. However, you can't you can't participate in nepotism and then get upset if people are going to call out the nepotism, specifically if you're in a situation like Bronny, who averaged 2 points a game, and his dad forced the team to draft him over, like, if they needed a guard, there were better guards available, and then there were better guards even on his own team. So I understand, and this isn't a criticism of Bronny. This is all at LeBron. Now, the real difference is Bronny was not an NBA prospect. Period. Like, that was before. That was even before the heart attack. That was before the draft. That was after the draft. That was everything. So the whole lead up to it and why it drew a lot of criticism is because at the end of the day, Bronny wasn't ready to be drafted. They didn't say he couldn't be an NBA player. They just said it's probably not draftable. Like, maybe go to the G League, do this. And if he would have done it that way, and I'm sure LeBron could have pulled the strings just as well on doing the undrafted route, and I think it would have served Bronny better. The difference is, like Bert alluded to, at least Austin Ainge has legit GM experience. He's put over a decade of time in. And so, yeah, his dad helped him along, but the issue isn't the nepotism, the act of nepotism. It's how you use it, right? Like, it's no different than guns, right? It's okay to own a gun, but if you go out there and start shooting up, puppy clinics and killing puppies, like, people have a problem that the fact that you own a gun. I didn't want to say daycare, or I didn't want to say anything with people, and I had to pivot real fast, like in real time.
Oh my God.
You knew I was going to do it, Bert, and I caught myself. I was like, "Oh, you can't shotgun a daycare," and then, you know what I mean? Like, that would have sounded worse. And then I said it anyway, so fuck it. But
can't wait to get that call from the CIA tomorrow. That's great.
Yeah, that'll be me. The stream shutting down. But yeah, it's to me, it's the only analogy I can think of, right? Guns aren't bad. It's how people use them, right? It's the people's levels of their responsibility and how they kind of and that's how I feel about nepotism. It's how you use it. Like, if you're giving your kid an opportunity to learn the job and earn your place, which I believe is the Danny Ainge thing. If this kid graduated from JUCO with a 2-year degree and became the head, the assistant GM of some program, right? This was the Stephen Jones thing. Like, oh, why doesn't Stephen Jones or Jerry Jones get nepotism claims? Well, all his kids have master degrees and doctorates from all these college, but they put in the work. Like, and you don't have to like Jerry Jones, but like
have the degrees to support.
You said what? I mean, but maybe not degrees in. I mean, I don't know anybody who went to college for general managing the Dallas Cowboys, but you know what I mean. Like,
no, I know what you're saying. I agree.
Like, Stephen Jones is a lawyer. He started off as a Cowboys lawyer. Like, his degree. Now his job now has nothing to do with his degree, but how he got into the business. His degree mattered, and he worked for it, and he earned his place. Is it cool? Is it his dad usher him into that spot? Yeah, sure. Just like LeBron, but it would have been different if. Let me ask you, Dwayne Marcus, if Bronny James was one of the top, 50 prospects in college the year he came out after his freshman year, nobody would have a problem with it if he was good. He just wasn't good. That's the problem.
I also think it comes down to nobody gives a shit about management positions, to be honest.
That's true too. That's another. Nobody knows who Austin Ainge is. Nobody cares.
I understand your comparison, and I think you're well and right to call it out. I just don't think there's not an upward because people don't give a shit. Because until he actually, I mean, who knows? After this season goes on, if he's making awful moves for the team, but I don't know.
I don't know. So the reason why I've been so adamant that it's only because it's Brown and LeBron is because a couple years ago, Dwayne Wade gained like a minor ownership stake in the Utah Jazz, and then his son signed with their G League team. It was like this, or like got picked by their G League team or something. It was like the exact same thing. It's just because it was Dwayne Wade, no one said anything because Dwayne Wade has his own other area of controversial opinions that people don't agree with, and so they didn't want to pile on to that, I guess, as to be polite. Happy June to Dwayne Wade and his family. But when it comes to Bronny, I mean, you're right? Like, okay, should Bronny have been drafted? Probably not. But it's not like Bronny got, as I said before, it's not like Bronny got drafted in the first round. Bronny was 4 picks from being undrafted. So that's what my thing is. It's not like, you know what I mean? Like I'll put it this way. If Bronny, I think Gilbert Arenas said this, if the Lakers only had the 17th pick and the Lakers decided to draft Bronny with the 17th pick, I would 100% understand all of like the reasons why people don't believe that Bronny should have been drafted. But Bronny got drafted 55th, which means that if Bronny doesn't get drafted 55th and the Lakers pick some other guy, right, the Lakers are probably still going to sign Bronny as an undrafted rookie, and then they're going to cut the guy who they drafted 55th. So which would you prefer? Would you have preferred for the Lakers to have drafted a guy at 55, sign Bronny, and then cut the guy they drafted 55, or just draft Bronny 55 at that point either way, and just do what they did with him, which is have him play games most of his rookie season in the G League and get better among competition that is more appropriate for his skill level than to have him log 2 to 3 minutes, 5 minutes max in garbage time games of blowouts where he's obviously going to look mismatched because he's not prepared for that caliber of talent. If that makes sense.
Well, it does, but what I'll say is it does matter who we're talking about. Like, we can't say Bronny James isn't just a 55th pick. So where he gets drafted is, to me, that's irrelevant, because no matter where he's drafted, and even if your scenario gets played out, LeBron is still going to manipulate the system to benefit him. What a lot of people, again, so the criticism is going to be there because it's LeBron, because of the situation. And it's not that they just drafted him 55 and then he earned his way. Like, he played the first game of this home game of the season, and then he didn't play any home games a majority of the G League season when he was down in the G League. Like, it's things like that that
played the first game of the season.
Huh?
We know why he played the first game of the season.
But that's what I'm saying. So that's where the criticism is lying. So like and again, Danny Ainge, like Bert was saying, nobody cares about management. Nobody knows who Austin Ainge is, and
I'm sure
it's the Utah Jazz too. Like,
I'm sure he'll be just fine with the Mormons in Utah. I just thought it was interesting that no one.
It is. Yeah, it is. I dig it. All right, so let's get into the Bert. We got a rematch of the Stanley Cup. Now, before I let you go, I want to find it interesting because I think this is kind of starting to be true in basketball. You have two teams that weren't necessarily the best teams in the NHL this year. I think the Oilers had the 10th best record and the Panthers had the 11th, or somewhere in that range. So does the regular season even matter? Like, are these teams, is the season too long and teams are just coasting to the playoffs, or should we read into the fact that it's a rematch of these two teams with their makeup the way they are?
The regular season still absolutely matters. We can't dismiss that because, I mean, teams fight for the playoff positions. Now, I can do a whole show on why the NHL should revert back to the old playoff format, because they don't reseed after the first round, which I find is annoying on many levels, mainly because you find very similar, if not the same matchups year over year, when if they'd reseeded after the first round, it'd be a completely different story. But we're not here to talk about that. I think what we're finding in terms of pattern are the teams that are making it far are the ones where their core is predominantly the same. And in this particular case, no, they weren't the best team in the East and they weren't the best team in the West, but they're pretty much a similar team that they were last year. And let's not forget, both of these teams not only made the Stanley Cup, as you said before, but after going down 0-3 against the Panthers, the Oilers came back, won 3 straight and forced a game 7, and it was a close game 7 too. So I think when you have a competitive core, and in this case, this is the Panthers' 3rd Stanley Cup in a row. They lost against the Golden Knights, and Paul Maurice, the coach, you heard all in the 2024 season or 23-24 season that once they got to camp, that's all they talked about. They talked about their playoff run. They talked about the feeling. They talked about that bad taste in their mouth and the chip on their shoulder to want to get back. Last year, great regular season, went through the playoffs. It was tough for them too. Got to the Stanley Cup, closed it out. And they have that. And now I think from a Panthers standpoint, you have a team that's been there before. And they have some new additions in Brad Marchand. But we got to remember, Brad Marchand is a cup winner in Boston too. So, and a veteran presence. And he knows what it takes to be there for especially the younger guys and the guys that they've acquired that have not been there before. So, when you have players that have this mentality and they know how to manage themselves and their team and their health through a grueling playoff series or a playoff process to get to a championship game, championship series, that is the Stanley Cup, like that. This is, I think, what we're seeing when we talk about playoff longevity. So I still think that the regular season is very much important. I wouldn't necessarily consider it coasting because it's still competitive. It's still 82 games. You still have to stay healthy. But I think there's a switch that once you get to playoffs, the teams that have the core that's been there before, they bunker down, they get it, they go to. I'll add good coaching into the mix too, because I think that's important. And I had to note that, especially because not that Rod Brendamore is a bad coach, but in what he's shown us with your Hurricanes in terms of making it far into the playoffs, there's a disconnect there. And there's been a lot of chatter about, oh, Rod runs his guys too hard for 82 games. So by the time the playoffs come around, they peter out. I don't think that's the case. I think it's something else, but again, not here to talk about the Hurricanes. In the West, when we talk about the Oilers, man, they want it. They want it bad, and they have a deep core in doing so. What's going to kill them this series? First off, Stuart Skinner is playing like an absolute beast and did throughout that entire Dallas series, and this is what you need from a goaltender. I talked about it in the last round. Grit and goaltending is what's going to take you there. And the unfortunate reality for the Oilers is Bobrovsky looks amazing coming out of the Eastern Conference Finals. Stuart Skinner looks great coming out of the West too, and he's got to keep that up. I have the Panthers winning this series again because after watching them absolutely dismantle the Hurricanes, it's tough for me to see, and especially in being there last year and winning last year, I just feel like they have the competitive edge, and they do have the better goaltender too. What scares me about the Oilers, though, is how deep their team continues to be from a scoring standpoint. It's not always just McDavid or Draisaitl or Nugent Hopkins or Corey Perry or Evander Kane. Everybody's pitching in. They did lose Zach Hyman for the rest of the playoffs, which is going to hurt them, but I still think that they'd be able to get it done without him. I took the Panthers in 6. There's just something for me mentally that I don't think the Oilers have it. I would love to see it. Don't get me wrong. In a matchup series where it's the same as last year, you want to see it go the other day and they each have one, but there's something that's very scary about the Panthers right now. And I almost think they're going to make quick work of the Oilers, but we'll see. I think it is truly going to come down to how well Stuart Skinner performs. And I hate to put all the pressure on goaltending, but I think large in part when you get this far, you have to rely on making those big save moments.
Back to Rob Brendamore, Hurricanes hockey legend, player legend, but as far as a coach,
oh brother, this guy stinks.
Get him out of here. Pack him up, man. Enough of him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Oilers in 7.
I like it. I do. I almost took Oilers in 7 too, but I can't shake the feeling that the Panthers are just going to mop them up.
And understandable. But here's why I feel like I do think both teams are better than they were last year. Let me get that out. But I think the Oilers have had a tougher time, which I think is going to help them. I think, and then you can't throw away the I want our lick back factor. Like you got us last year. McDavid looks unstoppable. And the main difference, you alluded to it, the main difference is between this year and last year, and hopefully it carries over to the Stanley Cup, but basically all through the playoffs, it hasn't just been Draisaitl and McDavid. And that's kind of was what the story was last year. Like it had to be them two or it was nothing. And understandable because they're the best players on the team, but when your secondary and your role players don't step up, or maybe those two aren't having the best game, you need somebody to kind of fill in the gaps. And they just didn't have that last year. And it seems like that's what they're doing. Stuart Skinner did not start this playoffs off very well, but he's been great. He's been great at when it matters. So I want the Oilers, man. And on top of it, we got to end this 32-year drought for Canada getting the Stanley Cup. So
I will say it is slightly painful knowing that Chris Knobloch, the coach for the Oilers, was coaching the Hartford Wolfpack, which is the Rangers minor league system, and filled in during the pandemic when our coaches had COVID, and he just did a great job. And knowing that after we fired Gallant, And before we hired Peter Laviolette, I remember telling like my friends who are Ranger fans being like, man, why don't we just hire Knobloch? Like, what are we doing? And sure as shit, we didn't. We brought in Peter Laviolette, which I guess last year worked out. We made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, but didn't pull through. But, then you look at a guy that was immediately hired by Edmonton after they fired their coach. And yes, I get it. He's got star power on the team, but now in his second year of coaching, the first 2 years of his NHL coaching experience are 2 years where he brought a team to the Stanley Cup final. It just kind of makes you sit back and wonder, what the fuck is Chris Drury and James Dolan doing? It's maddening. But hey, we have Mike Sullivan now. I'm going to make peace with that. It is what it is. But look, in the end, we got Stanley Cup playoffs starting tomorrow night. It's going to be great. I'm very much looking forward to watching. I know the NHL is happy, and as much as Florida now has a following, and they won the Stanley Cup last year, having a Canadian team in the market is just going to bump the ratings up even more, and it's something that the NHL is always in need of.
I'm not a fan that it's going to take 17 days to do this if they go all 7, because it's cross country the way Canada down to Florida. It's a long trip. It's like one of the longest it's like one of the longest trips they got. So not looking forward to how long it goes, but I mean, like you said, it should be great. But yeah, I'm going to roll with the Oilers. Losing's a great teacher, and I think McDavid and Draisaitl, you can't win if you don't know what it's like to lose. And so I think
if they lose again, that means Corey Perry, I think this is either his 5th or 6th consecutive Stanley Cup appearance, and he's lost all of them. He won it when he was a rookie. He won the Stanley Cup with the Ducks. And since then, I mean, he's bounced around to so many different teams, and it seems like every team he's traded to or signs with makes it to the Stanley Cup final. And I'm pretty sure this is the 5th year where he is now playing in the final. And the past 4 other years, he's lost in the final. And I mean, it sucks for him, but it's just one of those things where you're just like, damn, something's got to pull through for that whole team.
Dwayne Marcus, the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder will meet in the NBA Finals. Hooray for small market teams. Boo for the TV ratings, because I'm going to go out on a limb and say this will be one of the worst rated NBA Finals we've ever seen, but I don't care. I'm happy that whatever result we get will be the first title for a franchise. Yeah. Before I get your predictions and what you think of this series, what do you think of this ridiculous notion that if the Oklahoma City Thunder win this title, SGA will be the greatest Thunder of all time?
I'm actually
I know you've seen that floating out there.
Oh my God, I'm so glad. So here's the thing, right? I love SGA. I think SGA is great, and I do want to circle back to your point about the finals potentially being super low rated, because I have an issue on that as well. But first of all, I want to give SGA credit where credit's due. He's got a scoring title, he's got an MVP and a finals appearance this season. He's the 6th player in NBA history to do that. Curry did it in the 15-16 season. AI did it in 2000, 2001. Shaq did it the year before that in the 1999-2000 season. Jordan obviously did it 4 times in the 90-91 season, the year after that, and then the 90-95-6 season, and the 97-98 season, and then Kareem did it way back in 1970. And history's on SGA's side, and the fact that, Shaq won the title the year he did it. Jordan obviously won the title all 4 years he did it, and Kareem did it as well. So odds are pointing towards the fact that SGA likely will become the 4th player on this list to win a championship. But let's remember who we're talking about here, okay? Even if we just exclude, guys like Gary Payton and Jack Sigma and Sean Kemp from like the Sonics, and we just specifically focus on the Oklahoma City Thunder. If you look at SGA's resume right now, which thanks to this season is a little bit more, because before this season, he was just an all-star and an all-NBA selection, right? Now he's a scoring champion. Now he's MVP. We can't forget about Russell Westbrook, who was an 8-time all-star, 2-time scoring champion, 3-time assist champion, obviously won the MVP, 8-time All-NBA, and he's the all-time leader in Oklahoma City's franchise history in minutes, points, rebounds, assists, and steals. So, in my opinion, Russell Westbrook has a much starker claim to being the greatest player in franchise history than SGA. My bias, because of personal reasons, obviously, is that Kevin Durant's the greatest player in the history of the franchise, right? 7-time All-Star, 4-time scoring champion. He was the first player in Thunder history to win the scoring title. He was a Rookie of the Year. He was the first player in Thunder history to win an MVP, and he's second behind Russ in all those stats, and he's the first in threes made. Like, I love SGA. I think SGA is great. I think SGA, if he's not already, will enter the superstar tier with a championship. But by no means is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander going to be the greatest player in Oklahoma City Thunder history should he win a championship, simply because Russ and KD have also been to the finals before, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not like those two guys also just didn't get there. They got there. They ran into LeBron James when he was pissed off at the world because he couldn't get the job done in 2011. And so, and they were young, and so they didn't get the job done. But these are two guys who have done a lot for the city of Oklahoma City. These are two guys whose jerseys will be hanging in the rafters when their careers is done. And look, SJ's on the path to it, right? A championship puts him on the inside track. He's third on a lot of those different things just because he's been there for such a long time. And Oklahoma City's, specifically the Thunder's history, isn't as expansive. But no, SJ, I would say at best, if we're just including Oklahoma City Thunder players, so we're not talking about their existence prior when they were the Sonics, SJ right now is still third on that list, even with the championship, behind Russ and behind KD. He just hasn't put in enough time, in my opinion, necessarily to have staked that claim. He's played most of his career there, but he hasn't. Once you start seeing his name at the top of those lists, once he starts passing KD and passing Russ, which he can do starting next season, then we can start to have that conversation. But right now, his resume is still a little empty. Like, if we're just being honest, he needs a little bit more All-NBAs, in my opinion, a little bit more All-Stars, but a championship certainly puts him on the inside track. But no, and plus the Indiana Pacers, like, no disrespect, beating the Indiana Pacers is not the crowning moment that Thunder fans think it is. Yeah. It's great that it'll be their first championship, and it'll be great for them to win their first championship. But, like, beat another superstar in the NBA Finals, and then I would be more open to the notion that he's the greatest player in franchise history right now. That's all I'm saying.
That is the most ridiculous. Tell me, you're saying that if they win the championship,
yeah,
it's small feat because it's against the Pacers?
No, I'm not saying it's a small feat. I'm saying beating another team who only has one other potential superstar, right? Yeah. It's great. First championship in franchise history. Love that for you guys. They deserve it. I'm sure the parades will be crazy, and Oklahoma City will get burned down again, this time for much, much better reasons, which I would appreciate, right? As a black man, I really, really would. But at the same time, it's not like they're going out there and beating the Celtics, right? Or going out there and beating like a team with another superstar. They're beating the Pacers, a team that no one expected them to get there. And I think this would be a competitive series, but LeBron and Russell Westbrook went head up with, I know you don't like it, but the greatest player of all time, and they lost. Like, that to me is that, like, a championship in that instance, right? At that point in their careers, right, would have meant more than a championship does right now. Even though it's the first one, I get it. I just don't think that SGA is great, and he's been on a great 3-year run. I know Stuff About Sports loves 3-year sample sizes when it fits the agenda. For some reason, it doesn't fit the agenda. We want to talk about Jalen Hurts, but when it fits the agenda, you guys love 3-year sample sizes. So I'm all.
The best part about it is we make our agenda, so that's.
And I love that for you guys. A black man and a white man making your own agendas in cohesion. Martin Luther King Jr. would be very, very proud. Like, I'm sure he would. He's doing cartwheels in his grave, but he's been on a great 3-year stretch. He's averaged 30 points a game, these past 3 seasons. He's got an MVP. He's going to win a championship. He's going to win Finals MVP, and I love that for him. He's not the greatest player in Thunder history yet. That's all. Give it 2 more years. When he, like I said, once he starts passing them on those all-time rankings, then I think you can have that conversation of, yeah, Russ and KD were great, but the one thing they didn't do is win a championship. I just don't think he doesn't have enough skin in the game yet.
I wonder which one of LeBron's super teams you're referring to that he beat them in. I can't decide. Can't figure out which one. He's had so many. I mean, which one of his 75 All-Star teammates has he had help him win a championship? It wasn't the one where JJ Barea forced him to pass out of the post, right? Because that was 2011. I watched. Since you're wearing the Mavs jersey, I thought about the greatest LeBron stopper in NBA history. 5'4" JJ Barea forcing LeBron James to pass out of the post in a game-clinching scenario in the NBA Finals.
The day that you can admit and acknowledge that Jordan played more than 6 seasons in the NBA, and there's 9 other seasons of not all that greatness, then we can talk about whether or not Jordan's the greatest player of all time.
If I go to Beyonce's house 6 times and I clap them cheeks all 6 times, that is better than going to Beyonce's house 10 times and only clapping 4 times.
I don't know, man.
In each of those 4 times, I had to go there with a different group of people. Like, I didn't go there with the same group of people. I went there with different groups of people.
If I clap Beyonce once and it lasted 5 minutes, and Bert claps Beyonce 15 times and lasts 30 minutes each time, we still hit. Doesn't matter. So I don't really care.
I'm going to assume that Bird enjoyed it
than the other. You know,
I mean, they don't call him backshot Bert for a reason, man. I gotta show him some love there.
I think this lie that Indiana has been living is going to be over because the Thunder are the truth. I think they're just too overwhelming. I think, like, I love the Cinderella story. I love the fact that they're just this, this team that just kind of overachieves or overperforms. And I don't even want to say that because I feel like I'm slighting them. I'm not slighting them. They've deserved every victory they've had. They've played well, but because you're not expecting it, but I think the Thunder are not going to make that mistake. And the Thunder have overwhelmingly been the best team in the NBA all season. Like their roster's deep. They have elite defense. They have home court advantage now. I think the key is going to be, can the Pacers' fast-paced, high-scoring offense, who's going to win, that offense or that smothering defense that the Thunder have basically tired out the best player in the league, Nikola Jokic, in the Denver Nuggets? Like that defense took out the best player in the NBA. And I don't know if the matchups dictate that the Pacers can do to the Thunder what they did, because the only thing I can really look at is that Boston Celtics series. Like, if I wanted to gauge how the Pacers can possibly beat the Thunder, I look at Boston. Boston made a lot of mistakes. Like that, the things like they just didn't play well. The players didn't show up. So yeah, I mean, obviously in any situation, can SGA just lay an egg and not show up and then the Pacers can win? Yeah, sure. I'm talking about if everything goes the way, if all the teams have been playing the way they've been playing up until this point, what's a realistic scenario for me? Like, do I trust that defense that I've seen all year stop the best teams in the league, or this team that just came around 5 weeks ago when the playoffs started? Like, I don't know. I'm leaning towards the Thunder here.
I mean, well, no matter the sport, I mean, I think we all can agree that, peaking at the right time matters, right? And the Pacers have certainly peaked at the right time. And I do think, though, the Pacers are going to get at least one game. I don't think they're just going to get swept completely. I believe I saw somewhere like they haven't lost a home game this entire playoffs or something. They have a really, really, really good home playoff record with games that they had to play in Indiana. I think they'll get at least one. I think what I'm more interested in is figuring out if the Pacers will be able to steal a game on the road, right? Not for the cliche reasons of like a series doesn't start until the road team wins. Not for that, but I think when you're going up against a team like the Oklahoma City Thunder, who clearly have proved that maybe you don't need to lose before you win. I mean, although they were the 1 seed last season, I believe, and they did have an early exit in the postseason last season. But this is still the second youngest team in the last 70 or 75 years to make it to the NBA Finals. The only team younger than them is the 76-77 Blazers, back when you guys had to sit for oil paintings to take pictures, when Bill Walton was out here running around winning MVPs and championships and things of that nature. And listen, if history's any indication, Bill Walton and the Blazers won the chip that season. It's like maybe youth is on their side. Maybe there is some freedom with not having been here before. You're not as tied up. You don't have like any sour taste of having been bounced in this position before. But I do think, though, the Pacers in a way have been playing with house money all season, all playoff run. A lot of people didn't expect them to be there. And I do think that they can get one. But to your point, I also think that they're going to have to figure out a way to do what they did against the Knicks, which is force turnovers and capitalize on them. Like, that is going to be the difference for the Pacers. If they can, I'm not saying they're going to go out here and stifle the Thunder, but if the Pacers can go out here and capitalize on every single turnover that they can force, these are two young basketball teams we're talking about here. Like, there's not championship experience I think the only guy in this series who has championship experience is Pascal Siakam. I believe he's the only one, I think, off the top of my head. So, like, it's not like these guys are riddled with championship experience. It's not like there's a bunch of vets who've been here before multiple times over out here playing these games. But if the Pacers can capitalize on turnovers, I think that gives them a better chance to win more than just one game. But the Thunder have been the best team all season. I think they'll show that, and I think they're going to win in 5.
I misspoke. I said the Celtics. I definitely meant the Cavaliers. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're all good. I know what you meant. Now, the other thing I will say this, and this is another issue that I have with NBA media, just going back to what you said about this being lower rated. Like, look, here's the thing, right? Whether you like it or not, this is the world that we live in now as NBA fans. Like, the era of LeBron James and Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, it's over. The odds of any of those three gentlemen, as much as I love all three of them individually for their own reason, like the odds of any of those three guys playing in an NBA Finals series again, or even winning a championship again before their careers are done, pretty slim, right? Like, this is the world we live in. Joel Embiid hasn't even been to a conference finals, and Tyrese Halliburton has been to 2 conference finals, and he's been in the conference for 4 years, right? The Knicks are probably going to be back. Maybe the Celtics, but we don't know. Like, this is where we're at. So, like, if you are an NBA fan, if you're a basketball fan, and you've been begging so long to see new superstars, like, this is the proving ground. This is where we can potentially see 1 or 2 new superstars get crowned, whether it's Tyrese Halliburton and or SJ, whoever comes out of it. I think both of them can become superstars no matter who wins, but especially who wins, it has a strong case for it. If you're not going to watch the series just because, you know, it's 2 small market teams, I mean, this is why the second apron exists, right? This is why they wanted to have more parity across the league, so that we can have situations like this where we can crown a first ever champion. This is the first time in NBA history that we've had 7 different NBA champions in a row. And if you go back to the year before the Raptors won it, it's technically 8 champions that we've had different in a row, right? So that brings to the other thing. There are a lot of people out here on Twitter talking about the Thunder could be the next dynasty. And look, I get it. Sam Presti has done one heck of a job as a GM, but we've had a different NBA champion each of the last 7 seasons. It's going to be a while before we see another dynastic run. I don't think the Thunder are going to be it. And it's not because I don't think they're capable, but it's because after the Celtics won their championship, everyone thought that the Celtics would be the next dynasty. after the Nuggets won their chip because of the run that Jokic was on, everyone thought it was going to be the Nuggets. I think we're done with dynasties for a little bit. I think it's going to be a while before we see a team truly rise to the top and just dominate the league the way that the Warriors and the Bulls and the Spurs and the Lakers and all those other great dynasties have done it. But if you're an NBA fan and you're choosing not to watch the NBA Finals just because it's the Thunder and the Pacers and you don't think there's a lot of attraction there, I question whether or not you're really an NBA fan, because this is the best possible scenario. Like, this is going to be the least stressful finals discourse we've had in probably 15 years, because LeBron's not here. So you don't have to have stupid GOAT debates whether he wins or loses, right? Steph's not here. So you don't have to have stupid greatest point guard of all time debates. KD's not here. So you don't have to talk about whether or not he really earned it or not this time. Like, this is fresh blood in the finals, which means we're going to have new things to talk about, and we should all be happy about that, because if you go on Twitter and you turn on TV, it seems like that's all that we've wanted in the NBA for so long. It's like, now that we've got it, we don't want it. It's like basketball fans have turned into wrestling fans, and I hate it. Just watch the finals and enjoy it. Someone's going to win a championship for the first time. It's a good thing.
Thunder or Pacers in?
Thunder in 5, for sure. I think the Pacers will win game 3, and then the Thunder will get their act together and win 4 and 5.
I'm going to agree with you. I think it's probably going to be a 4-1 series. Sadly, I don't want it to be. I would love. I don't think the Pacers have much of a real chance. Again, unless something crazy happens. SGA gets hurt. Obviously, I'm not wishing for anybody to get hurt, or unless the Thunder just completely sleep on the Pacers and, like, I don't know. Just I can't. I'm trying, like the Bucks did. Like, I'm trying to figure out a scenario where I just don't see it happening. The
thing too is, like, the Thunder have faced their adversity. They went to 7 with the best player in the world. They got slapped around by the Wolves and came back and finished that series. You know what I mean? Like, they've done everything that you think that they would have needed to do to kind of be ready for this moment. They kind of all did it in this one playoff run. And again, much love to Halliburton and the Pacers, but it's going to take a lot more than some Pat McAfee voodoo magic through halftime speeches to get this team to win a championship. I think they're a little bit away. I don't know if they'll be back here next season, but this will be their best chance to win a championship for quite some time. But I think the Thunder are going to win in 5 for sure.
In a rare moment of me being nice, I'm going to say the Thunder in 6. I'll give the Pacers 2 games. Fuck it. Anything can happen. So, Bert, you got a game ball you want to give out?
Jesper Fast is hanging up his skates after 11 years. He suffered a neck injury with the Hurricanes last year. Decided to call it quits. He played for the Rangers a little bit too. But so wishing him all the well in retirement.
Sweet. Dwayne Marcus, you got a game ball you want to give out?
Yeah, my game ball goes to Mariah May, who just debuted in WWE all of 20 minutes ago after being freed from the shackles of All Elite Wrestling and the garbage that is Tony Khan. So much love to Mariah May.
Rom the Truth Killings will be there in about 90 days to save that company, so it'll be all right.
Shout out R-Truth, man. Gotta love
Shout out to R-Truth. My game ball, man, the New York Mets, man. Francisco Lindor. Listen, the innovation that Francisco Lindor introduced to the MLB called the torpedo bat. I mean, moving up the shortstop all time.
You gotta be kidding me.
I mean, why hasn't any other team thought of doing this? It's such a great invention. And now that Francisco Lindor is now tied for 6th in the all-time, creeping up on Bert's guy, Derek Jeter. He's about 30.
Didn't he pass him next?
Maybe he passed him. Did he pass him yet? I know he's either right there tied with or under him, or he might have just passed him. I can't remember the graphic I saw a couple days ago, but I don't know if we could quickly Google it. But either way, it's the Mets. Like, Lindor's waking up. Soto, I wouldn't say he's waking up, but he has an eye open.
He just passed him with 261.
He just passed him with 261. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that makes more sense of why I saw that graphic. But I knew he was moving up the list. I just couldn't tell if he was tied or whatever. But anyway, Francisco Lindor invented the torpedo bat, so shout out to him.
Can I ask a question before we go? I know how this works, right? I've been here a couple of times. I'm just curious. What are we, 60 games into the MLB season at this point, roughly, somewhere around there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, about.
Bert, how many ups and downs has the Germ Met fan roller coaster been on at this point? Because I feel like I want to know how far into this are we? Like, how many more ups and downs are we going to get before I open Instagram one day and see Germ ripping Met fans a new one and ripping and he'll bring up the payroll and the pitching, and then he'll be a Pete Alonso fan, and then Pete Alonso will lay an egg, and then he'll hate Pete Alonso. I'm just wondering, how many more ups and downs do we have before we get to that?
Mean, if it's one thing Pete Alonso is not doing, it's laying eggs, to be honest with you. But I'll be honest, this season it's been consistent because the Mets haven't really had too much of a down. I mean, I think they only had one 4-game losing streak all season. That just came recently. So in terms of
Germ crash out is on the way.
Crash out could be after All-Star break, to be honest with you.
We got a lot of games left, so we got
a lot of games left. But overall, way better positioning than they were last year.
This actually makes me happy because this means that Germ hasn't crashed out yet. So when he does, it'll be entertaining. And I hope
and it's more of like a slower build too. So it's going to be huge.
All I need them to do is hold off for another 2 months when NFL gets kicked into gear. Once the Buffalo Bills take the field, I won't really care what the Mets are doing until playoff time, until October.
I think you shouldn't have said anything. I think now you're going to get that crash out before the month is over, and then you're going to be pissed the rest of the
Yeah, I'm about to crash out. And this James Cook guy, these running backs in the league, never pay skill players. Billy Bean, I'm telling you, bud, send James Cook and his overly long dreadlocks packing. We have Ray.
You've been real anti-black tonight, man. What's up with that?
No, I haven't. I bigged up Halliburton, and he's
other stuff.
I bigged up Halliburton for 20 minutes, and he's a half breed. What are you talking about?
Halliburton's a bunny hopper.
My gosh.
He's not.
And
Dr. Umar would not be pleased with.
And I bigged up.
He was talking about those jerseys. I mean, come on.
VP, And Francisco Lindor got my game ball. I mean, what do you over that? You're the one wearing the Luka Doncic jersey. I don't want to hear that shit from you, Dwayne Marcus.
Nothing wrong with repping a white man when the white man's good for you.
Slovenian. Happy June, by the way, before I forget.
I don't.